So Rise of Skywalker, it's almost here. And I've never reviewed a Star Wars movie before. So I guess I'm supposed to review all 8 of them before the 9th one comes out? Or at least try?
Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, 1977.
So guys, this is a review for Star Wars Episode 4. They added the A New Hope thing later, but yeah, that one. And let me warn you, there are spoilers in this review. I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, dude. And I'm reviewing the original version, okay? Not that dumb CGI one, the only one that you're allowed to buy now. Yeah, the original version, I have them, and I enjoy them. Sorry, George. Now, did I see this in the theater? No, dude, I couldn't even walk yet. But I do remember seeing it after, like a ton of times. Even the poster, dude, that thing was so epic. It's not like photos or images. It was like a painting. And it was just, wow. Now, even though I was too young to be able to give my perspective now on its release, I do know history. People were still pissed about Vietnam. Society was all kind of freaking weird and against each other, like now. And the movies back then, they were pretty freaking dark, dude. Even the heroes, they're all kind of messed up. Then came Star Wars. George Lucas wrote a huge script with 3 big acts. So then he just broke it up into 3 films. And that's your original trilogy. Just the thought that this entire thing was one script. Oof. And right from the opening crawl, this thing was iconic, man. And including that opening scene that I know everybody talks about. There's nothing I'm gonna say here that somebody hasn't said about Star Wars. It's been reviewed freaking 1,000 times. But there is that iconic opening image that everyone talks about. It's beautiful and it's freaking simple. The good guys are running, the bad guys are big with that big ass ship that looks really cool. The Star Destroyer. The main bad guy wears all black. The princess wears all white. Nice and simple. Plus, it was brave for a movie like this to introduce an openly gay character. Movies really didn't do that back then, I'm just saying. Then we meet Luke, and his arc is amazing because you know he matures throughout the trilogy, but he's full-blown whiny bitch right now. A bitch wanting to reach for the stars. And this movie really does reach for the stars, man. From the Jawas to the Sand People to a wizard in the desert with a laser sword. Just saying, George Lucas was probably on some good shit when he came up with this, man. It was done in the 70s. And I love how when this movie does take a break, it moves the story along with clear and interesting dialogue. Not like that stuff in, and not every movie does that. The Empire, it's just pure evil here, man. And it's totally based on the freaking Nazis. Then you have the cantina scene. Wow, super iconic. And if you're asking what happened to all the LSD, I'm pretty sure George took it all when he wrote this part because, man, these creatures, yeah, sure, awesome. This was some creative stuff nobody had really done before. I mean, you have a movie with a monster, a movie with this monster, but you don't have like all this like that, man. It was freaking cool. All the different species, they were so unique. Even chin balls, little awkward, but cool looking. Speaking of balls, Greedo lost his because, I'm sorry, Han shot first. I don't care how much George edits it, how much CGI he wants to put in it. Bro, put all the CGI you want. Han shot first. I don't see what the big deal is. The only thing I didn't like about the bar scene was the bartender. Pretty close-minded guy telling Luke that C-3PO had to stay outside because they don't serve his kind. Not cool, dude. Now the effects in this movie, bro, they were freaking mind-blowing. And guess what? 40 plus years later, they still hold up pretty solid. In like a vintage kind of way maybe, but they're still solid. Why? Because they're practical effects. Even the big backdrops. Bro, that's not green screen. Those are paintings. That long ago and they still look good. And there's so much effort in every single detail in this movie. The models, the sets, the uniforms. And I love how everything is like kind of dirty. Like it looks lived in, which makes it more real. When things look too perfect, they can kind of look a little bit fake. That dirtiness kind of thing, it just made it look bright, man. Even Darth Vader's helmet, freaking fingerprints everywhere. Looks like that iPhone from a few generations ago where like you had the fingerprints everywhere, dude. You couldn't keep it clean. Bro, it's like that. I don't know what C-3PO got in, but that's it. He looked crusty too. And I love how through this whole movie, the main characters, they didn't ask to be together. They just ended up together. And a lot of times they're bickering in the beginning. But you see that bond build and they become close as they work together. I mean, shit got tight. Then there's the lightsaber fight. Yeah, I get the criticism on this. Yeah, I get it. It was a bit slow and they weren't really enthusiastic doing it. But you have to understand, these guys had no idea what these laser swords were going to look like after the effect was added. This wasn't Star Wars yet. This was Sir Alec Guinness and a bodybuilder dressed in robes and a freaking helmet, fighting with plastic tubes and saying space wizard shit. In fact, most of the cast would mess around on set all the time, laughing at what this all looked like. Especially Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. Geez, Peter Mayhew was running around wearing a freaking body rug. And this movie didn't call it a day with the imagination because that final battle scene, the one with the Death Star, seeing X-Wings for like the first time, that was badass. And the detail when they're flying down and close and to the Death Star and they're going through a little alley thing, bro, those were all small handmade models. The Death Star surface was like a 40-foot by God knows what model that they built. And as Luke's flying to get to the target, yeah, your heart's beating. It was freaking cool. Then freaking Space Cowboy shows up, hits the TIE fighters, and he's like, take your shot, kid, let's blow this joint. And Luke shoots the two things from the X-Wing. I still don't know how they shoot that way, and they ended up going like that. So they went like that into the hole. I don't know how that happens, but yeah, cool. They blow the joint, and they freaking take off, and it was fun. And everyone's happy when they get there, bro. Everybody's like cheering, hugging, except maybe Chewie. I mean, that was kind of bullshit, but it is what it is. And it was awesome. How much of an impact was this? Man, this movie was escapism that the country at the time really needed. And it showed by breaking like all kinds of records. It dethroned the champ at the time, which was Jaws. And on the list of all-time movies, adjusted for inflation, sorry Endgame, it's just the way you kind of gotta do it to be fair. It was impressive, man. But the most important impact is how this movie touched a generation of kids. Those kids that are now older hold that movie and its sequels, maybe not all the sequels, close to their heart. I mean, do I even have to say a rating for this? Come on, this was magical freaking space shit. That's one down. Freaking 7 to go. Please like, subscribe to whatever stuff that I have. And yeah, Empire's next. Thanks for watching.